Hello. Hey, I'm Claire Louise Hay from BeHealing.com. Welcome to Psychic Cafe. Just go on my live on the phone. And go. Like this video. I like it already, and it's only just started. I am tired today. How are you? Who have we got on? Pop up a message saying who you are, where you're watching from. I've got my coffee. I've got my cards. I picked a card out today and it matches my t-shirt. This one. We'll talk about that in a short while, and I'll go deeper into the daily read, and I'll pick my cards out for the day, and I'll do readings for you guys too. So if you're watching the replay of this, come along to my live sometime. It's 8 o'clock every morning at Bangkok time. So it might be your afternoon or your evening or in the middle of the night for you. But you're welcome to come along and get a free mini reading from me if you can make it live. Otherwise, just enjoy the replay. Should be a lot of great information in here. So the daily read today was all about judgment and how we're judging ourselves, the things that trigger us emotionally in other people, the things that we haven't resolved within ourselves. And it was about emotions coming up and being true to your emotions, not letting anyone else tell you not to feel a certain way. You know, like don't be sad, don't cry, don't be angry, shaming you for being angry, or telling you to smile when you're not happy. It's like owning your emotions, because it's really important to experience our emotions, not push them down, not try and ignore them. And what else? I can't remember what else was in the daily read. So I'm going to go deeper into that. But I also picked a card out from Colette Baron Reid's deck, from her Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and it's Imagine. But it came out in the reverse position, upside down. So this means imagine, don't imagine the bad stuff. Our imaginations are really powerful, right? I've talked about it before. It's our consciousness that creates, our consciousness and our emotional state that creates. And if we're letting our subconscious mind run riot, run the show, it has a negative bias. And that's when we end up with a random, shitty life. When our subconscious mind is just rambling off on its negativity all the time, trying to protect us. But once we wake up and we start to meditate and we tame our mind a little bit, then we can start to choose thoughts consciously from time to time. We're never going to shut that subconscious mind up completely, but we can become aware of it and we can quiet it down a little bit. And we can spend maybe more time having conscious thoughts that we want to have. And that's where our imagination comes in, because it's something that I use a lot, the power of daydreaming, right? Imagining great things happening. And I can do it so much that I can stop myself from sleeping. If I do it in the evening, I stop myself from sleeping because I get so excited. My emotional state goes through the roof, and then I end up not being able to sleep. So I've got to really be careful. And that in gratitude practice, I've got to be really careful with it because I can get hyper. But of course, there's the negative side of the imagination, isn't there? There's us using that power of our conscious thought to imagine things going wrong. We don't want to do that. So let's have a look at what Colette Baron Reid says about this card when it's in that protection position, that upside down position. Illusions and wishful thinking, rooted in a sense of lack, have entered your life. Now may be the time to see things as they truly are and not as you hoped or imagined they would be. Release any fear, then envision anew. Perhaps you are anticipating that something fearful might happen and recreating that image of disaster over and over in your mind. The universe responds to such projections, so be aware of this catastrophizing. I think that's how you say it. And no matter what, illusions and awfulizing, she's made that word up, are a misuse of imagination. Clear the inner slate and stay grounded, stay real. Only then can you truly have what you desire. So a pretty important message today, especially with the daily read saying about it being an emotional day. You've got to make sure that those emotions don't cause us to get into this negative imagination space of imagining the worst and using our conscious thoughts in that way to send our emotional energy into the negative and create what we don't want to happen. So it's a day to be real careful. Might be a good day to stay in. I'm so tired today. I had a big day yesterday, a big day of work. And I could do a big day of work today, or I could just rest and do it all tomorrow. I've got so much to do in the next few days. But yeah, my energy is low today. And news on the cat, we still haven't got it yet because Thai people, I don't know. Maybe Monday, maybe today, maybe Monday, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, he didn't go, and then he said that it wasn't, he went and it was closed. So I messaged him saying, he said he went and it was closed. Can we arrange a time for him to go and pick it up? And the reply was, we weren't closed. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I was talking to someone Thai, they lie. Don't trust anything they say. They're like little kids. Who have we got? Who's on? Pop me a message saying who you are, where you're watching from. And I'm going to go deeper into the daily today. So I wasn't available yesterday morning for this because I should have been in a breakthrough session with a client. But she thought it was an hour later than it was because the clocks have changed in her country. And so I waited half an hour and it didn't happen. I ended up making all of those videos the year ahead. Hey Matt, how are you? Good to see you on here. Yeah, so I didn't do it. So we're doing it next week instead. Those time changes are quite challenging. I don't know why any country does it anymore. It's pretty pointless and very confusing. And everyone changes the clocks at different times. The clocks don't change here because it's pointless. Really. It's just confusing. Peer pressure from dead people. Tradition. Yeah, it wasn't about farming. But what does it matter what time it is on your watch? As to when you get up and feed the cows. Like, really? Or was it? In World War II, save lamp oil. I thought it was about farming. I've been going to bed when the sun goes down lately, which is pretty early. I'm so tired. Farms don't really care about the clock, yeah. I don't think anyone really cares about the clock because you can just, like me, going to bed really early, getting up really early. It doesn't matter what time it says on the clock. I really like that. I like camping because of that. Getting into that, waking up with the sun, going to bed when the sun goes down. I guess in some countries you wouldn't want to do that because you'd only be up for a few hours in the winter. But here it's pretty much near the equator, it's pretty much constant. It's not that big a change. But the change that we've got now, because it's, I don't know, it probably changes about an hour, the sun going down. So now when I'm finishing training at 5:30, it's starting to go down. It's weird. Matt, I was up till around 6 a.m. last night. Oh, because the meditation energies were running away with me. Now I'm having a bit of an emotional day. I'm tired, so I was falling asleep. I was reading a book last night on my iPad and falling asleep just after the sun had gone down. And so I put it down and then I was awake. It was really annoying because I could have done with a big night's sleep like that. Well, tonight. So yeah, I'm not surprised if I had will have an emotional day either because I'm that tired. I also tried in the last couple of days and I shouldn't really. I should have had a couple of days off because I thought he was getting the cat. So I won't go today. Give myself a break. Okay, let's get some cards for the daily. Where's Warren today? Where's Nikki? I think Nikki's working tomorrow. And it's the middle of the night for Nikki. And she comes in here anyway at like 2 or 3 a.m. or something. That's dedication for you. Okay, we've got feelings again, but it's going well. A lot of the times we have these emotional days to get rid of past emotions. Have you ever had it happen, right? I remember my mum going through this. She had a lot of emotions that were pushed down. And then like something in the house would break and she'd lose it. She'd lose it completely. And all the emotions from the past 50 years would come out. That's what it seemed like sometimes. And so this is saying like, it's actually going well, this process. You have things happen that allow feelings to come up, to allow feelings from the past to be expressed. So it's a cleansing process. So sometimes things go wrong in your life just to poke an old wound, just to poke an old emotion that was unexpressed at the time that needs to come out now. You know, so something sad happens. You hear of someone's like pet dying, someone that you don't even know on Facebook. And then end up in complete tears. And of course, you're not crying about that person's pet. You're crying about all of the grief that you've been through and didn't express at the time. So that process is going well. So maybe that's why I'm tired today, to open me up. Years ago, I was on this course, like spiritual course, and they actually used tiredness as a technique to break us down, to open us up. It wore us out. Because when you're tired, you're way more open, apparently. Prepare me for the new cat. Can't wait to meet her. Okay. Yeah. So the energies today, be still, keep quiet, quiet day. Like I said, good day to stay in. And take the risk. Or take the risk of staying in and not doing anything. I might make some videos today. I might just make a few. I might not. But yeah, sometimes it feels risky not to do anything, doesn't it? It's like in the daily reads when the challenge is like peace and rest. Sometimes it is challenging to give ourselves a break and to stop. But yeah, this is saying take that risk. To go with your emotions, to allow your emotions to dictate what you're doing today. My mum would talk about sleep fasting sometimes. Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. That's a good way to look at it instead of I really want to sleep and I can't. Well, the construction's going on. They're building it way higher than I thought. It's really tall. It's going to look down on me. Okay. So what's this all about? What's all of these emotions about? What's the bigger picture? We're in a transformation. So it's like turning into goop in our chrysalis at the moment. I guess it could be that, you know, when your emotional state or your tiredness or whatever gets you to stay in, be quiet, and feel your feelings. I guess it is a little bit like that caterpillar going into its chrysalis. Transforming, and it's what we're doing, how we're being of service to the world is transforming. I know yours is, Matt, from the comments that I've seen from you. Sleep fasting. So how we're showing up in the world, how we're being of service is transforming at the moment. And it was, I don't know how long ago it was, when I got, quite a while ago, I think 6 months ago or a year ago or something, when I got in the weekly reading that people were being redirected now. You know, when a child is like heading towards something they shouldn't be headed toward, and you grab them by the shoulders like a toddler and move them, point them to something that's good instead, and then push them forward. It's getting that image for everybody quite a while ago. And that's what I'm seeing again today. I think it came up in someone's reading yesterday too. That same thing, we're being redirected, and it's all about how we're showing up in the world and on service. How we're being of service, but of course there's internal changes to get us there. I'm feeling it. Okay, what else? I'm pretty excited about what I feel coming. Yeah, but now, a pile of goo. Now you're a pile of goo. Breakdown before the breakthrough. I did a video about that. I wonder if I still got access to it somewhere. It's probably on YouTube. It will be on YouTube. Oh, I might find that today and put it out. It was breakdown or breakthrough. Go through the process of it all in the video. I'll find it today. Should write that down so I remember, but I don't have a pen. I'm going to write that down. People. There's people next door. Fine, breakdown, breakthrough. Video. And then I'll publish that because it's old, but it's really, it will be on my YouTube channel, but it'll be so that people can't see it at the moment. And it's a really good thing. I used to have it as a sign-up thing. It was like a little mini course. People used to put their emails in and do that. Maybe I can find that whole course and put it out again for people. Right, yeah, okay. So we're breaking through resistance at the moment. This is what this transformation is about. We've got communication coming, so we're in a process at the moment. We're in a process. Breaking down our resistance to this service, to what it is that we are going to do. And remember, don't imagine the worst. Don't use your imagination to create things that you don't want to happen. Listen to the first day of your 21 wishes meditation. Might be good to publish on here. Yeah, I could do that. I really need to re-record them. The sound quality isn't very good. Can't do that at the moment because of the noise here. The only time it's quiet here is at night, sometimes, if there's not tourists around. But in the daytime, when I'm fit and able to do the recordings, there's construction work going on all the time here, so it's just impossible to do any recording work. I do want to re-record them though, and anyone that's bought those will get the new recordings when I do. I was also doing some voiceover work, and I can't do that now either. Yeah, that, the 21 Wishes in 21 Days program, I was sat inside a wardrobe to do that. It's actually a walk-in wardrobe, so it was pretty big. But it's the best place to do it, with clothes around you to dampen out the sound. This room isn't ideal. You can hear it's not ideal because it's all tile floor and bare walls, and construction noise outside. Not good. Air conditioning, drying noise all the time. So yeah, padding a walk-in closet. Yeah, well, you can just do it by getting in your wardrobe. The clothes hanging around you. I've done it. If people could only see, they're probably imagining, like a yoga hall or something, and you recording in this amazing place. I used to actually do them outside with my iPhone. I used to record like this using the microphone app thing, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called anymore. And that used to work pretty well, doing it outside. The microphone on the iPhones is pretty good. But I'm liking the AirPods microphone right now. It's a little bit better. It's not better than this. Recording like this on an iPhone is really good. This microphone, if it's in the right place, if I'm right up there recording it like a radio show, this microphone is really good. But I don't have a desk that's the right height, or a chair that's the right height for this. In this room, it's just this high TV table. There's just two really low tables, and the chairs are all like normal sitting chairs. So there's nothing that's the right height. Okay, I'm going to pick my cards out for the day before I fall asleep. Okay. Face the situation and be okay about it. What situation? I was watching another reading this morning, and he was talking about being hurt by people and all kinds of things, and it's like, I don't have any of that going on at the moment. And relax. Relaxy, friends. I've been invited to a party tomorrow. I'm not sure about that. It's so not fun being around drunk people anymore. Okay, Matt, do you want a reading? And is there anyone else there that wants a reading? Just pop up a message and I'll do that for you. This is going to be a short and sweet one. Short and sweet Psychic Cafe, because then I can rest. Hey Tom, how are you? Matt. Ooh, expansion. This is like your goop thing. How you're expanding, what you're moving towards. You've got to be cracked open first. That's when the emotional stuff comes up, when we need to be cracked open for something. So it's like beliefs that you have get cracked open. Your heart gets cracked open by the emotional stuff. Yeah, but it's leading to good places. It's leading to the expansion that you want. Breakdown before the breakthrough. Okay. So Matt, you've got forgive them and decide. This is pretty specific. This is about you can have forgiveness for people, right? So you can let go of what it is that they did to you. You can let go of any emotional attachments that you've got to that. But that doesn't mean that you then need to have them in your life or go back to how it was before or anything like that. Then you get to decide what you want going forward. It's like you forgive them, and then the next part of the lesson is to make a decision on whether they're good for you and you want them in your life. Because a lot of people think that forgiveness means then they can just be in your life again. But generally, if that person hasn't apologized, that's when you need to find forgiveness in yourself, right? You need to do it for yourself if they're not apologizing. But if they haven't apologized, and even sometimes if they have apologized, if there's no change in behavior, you need to decide not to have them in your life. Family stuff has been coming up recently. Leading to more knowing of what my goals are in that area. Synchronicity really is amazing. It is. Yeah, family can be tricky, especially for healers and things, because we tend to have the majority have chosen the family to give them a lot of challenges to head them off on that right path, kind of thing. And so generally you're not like them at all. Healers are not like their families at all. And yet we have this angst until we don't, that we try and work it out, try and heal it, and keep on expecting them to be more like us when they're not, when we actually chose them because they're not like us. So yeah, it can be tricky. But that decision is yours, of whether you have people in your life or not. You don't have to, just because they're family. You don't have to. Or just because of any other reason, if it's not family, people that you're forgiving, you don't have to have them in your life. You get to choose. I was watching an interview last night. It was actually a Joe Rogan thing. What a weird guy he is. But he was interviewing an MMA fighter, this dude, and his coach, I think it was. I don't know. And he was talking, this young dude was talking about what he'd learned so far, especially around being around people. He said he hadn't realised how important it was, but that fun people, the people that he wanted to have fun with, were the worst for him, and it wasn't compatible. And yeah, Joe Rogan was saying that. You learn that it's not compatible, especially around an athlete, So he was talking about girls and yeah, the whole partying thing, and how it's not compatible with him doing what he wants to do. But then a lot of other people that he's hanging around with are compatible with what he's doing. My feeling is that I'm in the process of letting them go. Because you're not working on the same things. Yeah, and that's okay. You've got to let that be okay. But then it's kind of sad because my world is getting that much smaller. Yes, and it does. You've got to be okay with that. I'm okay with that now. It's about having just a few quality people in your life, not a lot of bad quality people in your life, because that's really going to, you just can't stay on track. You can't do great things when you've got a heap of idiots around you. You can't. I'm not saying that they're idiots, but you know what I mean. It's like I did that for so many years, just like hanging out with alcoholics and partiers all the time. It's just not compatible with the stuff that I'm doing at all. And I thought it could be. I thought it was a part of me and it could be compatible. But it's definitely not, especially not now I'm an athlete. It's not compatible at all. And it's just so distracting in a destructive way too. It's like, that's what I'm realizing now. It's like, yeah, I've been invited to this party and it would be fun. But I'd much rather go and hang out with people that I train with, people that are actually looking after themselves and doing good things for themselves. Or listen to podcasts with other entrepreneurs and actually be inspired. And I'd much rather do other things with my time. I'd much rather hang out with other people, even if they're not here or physically on this island. There comes a point where you you're more entertained by doing great stuff for yourself than doing the negative entertainment stuff like watching TV all night, Netflix all night, or going out or whatever. It's one of the things I wonder about too, whether or not intoxicants can coexist with my inward path. I think it depends where you are. But looking back, for me, that it depends on. Like, I used to use it for anxiety, that I just don't have anymore. But if I hadn't have used alcohol all those years, like, because I was so abused when I was a kid, I was scared of everyone. I just wouldn't have had a life if I didn't use alcohol. I would have been a complete recluse and stayed away from everyone. Alcohol got me through that social anxiety so that I actually could be open. And so I don't regret it at all using it. And I think in the same way, until you've healed the reason for using it, it is actually a beneficial thing. But then once you've healed your reason for using it, like, once there's no social anxiety there anymore, if that's what it is, then it's destructive. Then it's destructive and it's not even enticing in any way at all. I think I've had a drink for a month now. Something like that. So much better. So yeah, I think when you have that inkling that it's not compatible, but you've still got a positive reason that you're using intoxicants. I can't say it. Intoxicants. There's a positive reason that you're using it. It's like any kind of sabotage. There's always a positive thing we're getting out of it. You know, like was it yesterday's? The tribe thing, the success tribe daily, maybe the day before. And it's like that. It's like we sabotage ourselves by staying around the failure tribe, you know, just because we're getting love from it. If you're getting love from people and love is lacking from your life, or self-love is lacking from your life, then you're going to stick around people that are complaining about the same thing and stick in that failure tribe, even though it's not good for you. When you get something positive from it, you stay with that sabotage. I was aware of not wanting to let it get tied to negative emotions. It's been tied to parties and chilling with friends. Yeah, that's a stage, right? I went through that stage of it just being about celebration. Not using it to cover up negative feelings. So if I'm feeling stressed, not drink then. Alcohol is a crutch, but when your leg is broken, you sometimes need crutches. Exactly. Yeah, you don't throw your crutches away when you've broken your leg. So yeah, that's a stage that I went through. I just went for it to be just celebrations and stop using it to calm myself down if I was tense. Stop using it if I was feeling like overwhelmed or feeling some kind of negative emotion to numb that. I stopped doing it for that. But then there came a point where it was just like the celebration is actually not really a celebration either. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not really celebrating. Me going out on a Friday night isn't really a celebration. Especially around other people that are using it for all of those other reasons. I guess like different if you go to a wedding or something, but even then, like, there'll be a lot of people there because there just are so many alcoholics. There'll be a lot of people there that are using it, even though they're at a celebration, they'll be using it for the other reasons. Yeah, not really a celebration. It's a weird thing. It's just like so socially acceptable. But then once you break free of it, you see the negative, and you recognize the negative aspects of it in your past as well. Like not just the dependency that a lot of people have on it. It's like sugar. It's like, you know, with my fat loss coaching, Teach people about this sugar craving, which is for any kind of food. It's like any kind of food that's not fat, it gets converted into glucose. And so whether you know it or not, you're a sugar junkie, and what that sugar craving feels like. And it's actually those addictions, they come out of people's mouths too. They've got a voice. It's like our gut has a voice. It's got a mind in our gut. And you don't realize how much you're taken over by these, that your mind, your consciousness is taken over by these things. Because we're mostly not ourselves, we're mostly not our own DNA and our own mind. We've got lots of microbes and things within us. We're a community of a lot of things, and they have their minds too. And so when we've got those addictions, there's actually a physical parts in our body that are not ours, that are crying out for these sugars and things, say, and they've got a voice. And so what I teach people as part of it is like, when you're giving these things up, it's better to keep it to yourself, because when you tell people about it, they emotionally react to it, because the addiction in them comes out of their mouth. So they react to it. It's like the alcoholic. You know, if you stop drinking, same thing. You tell people, they want you to have a drink. It's not them that wants you to have a drink. Whether you have a drink or not, it's got absolutely nothing to do with them. It's the addiction that wants you to have a drink. And yeah, and you see people they just constantly talk about it. They pretty much don't talk about anything else. You know. And then it gets to the point where you're like, it's as enticing as going to a room where people are shooting up heroin is going to the pub and being around people that drink. It's really sad, and you might think that they're having a good time, but when you're not part of it and you're watching them, it's not a good time. They're all very quiet, or they're repeating things with a slur and not making any sense at all. Checked out, smiles on the faces, but it's not fun. It's bizarre. Yeah, so it's quite a trip. Yeah, and people have got it with sugar too. But yeah, sugar and alcohol, they're big, socially acceptable addictions. I'm curious as to how I'll be looking at it after I break out my chrysalis. Yeah. It was a long process for me. Like, I'm 48 now, and I gave up last year. Finally, I don't know, I can count on my fingers how many times I've had drinks in the previous 12 months. It's less than 10 times, which is great. Caffeine. Does caffeine talk though? Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really interesting. But it's been a long journey for me, unpicking all of that, because it's so entrenched in culture. Everything talks. And it's good to know that too, because then you can realize that it's not just someone's addiction talking to you, and not take it personally. Which tribe are they speaking for? And so, like, our gut microbiome, it's just there based on what we're eating. Like, the microbiome doesn't stick around if we're not having the food that feeds them anymore. And then the new ones come along that eat the food that we are eating now, without us trying to take probiotics to change that, when we're not changing the food that we're feeding them. It's like, I don't know, it's like having a desert and keep on introducing cows, and then they keep on dying because you don't have the food that's there for them. The grass isn't there for them. But you still keep on getting cows and putting them there because you know cows would be really good for the land. But there's still no grass there, so you're not feeding them, so they keep on dying off. That's what probiotics is. trying to get but if you get your gut microbiome like really good for you, but it just happens naturally if you change the food that you're having. There's a noticeable difference when I was having probiotic beverage each day. It's short-lived though, unless you're changing your diet to feed them. So yeah, if you're having it every day, you will feel a difference from that. For sure. Because we are, I can't remember what percentage it is now, but our bodies, our DNA, is something like 43% us, 43% human, 57% bugs and things. So we're mostly not us. And so it's not just the DNA, it's the mind, mostly not us. And so when you add that into the mix, when I talk about meditation and the mind and using our, being aware of our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind, it's picking up on thoughts from everyone. It's also picking up thoughts from the bugs that are within us. And the addictions, they have addictions too. They're being fed by the alcohol, they're being fed by the sugar, they're screaming out for it. And we hear that. And so our minds, our minds are not our own. So when you think of it that way, your mind is only 43%. Your conscious mind can only even be 43%. And that's the subconscious. Part of the subconscious is ours too. It's part of the human mind. So I wonder what percentage the conscious mind is then. It depends how much you meditate. Killed by the alcohol. Yeah, the good ones can get killed. Alcoholics really don't get very much nutrition from the food at all. That's how they can be so skinny and eat a lot. They're not absorbing it. For that reason, alcohol kills that microbiome that are actually working on the food. It's interesting. Okay, I'm going to call it quits there. Do something else instead. Thanks for joining me, Matt, and everyone that's watching the replay. Have a wonderful day, Matt, night, whatever it is, night. Remember, don't use your imagination to imagine bad things. Use it in a positive way. Thanks, Matt. Bye.